I've already done a video talking about Batman Returns and how I have tried multiple times over the years to really like it, and well, I still don't. I think Tim Burton tried too hard to cram as much as he could into his sequel, and it ended up being too overbloated and overworked for its own good. Too many villains, too many clowns, and not enough of the Bat himself. Once Joel Schumacher took over to do the third entry in the franchise, it took on a whole new look and feel from what Burton did with the first two. Lots of bright neon lights are used in excess here, and I think that was because that was a thing in the 90s with vibrant, in-your-face colors, lending itself to that rebellious attitude of Generation X. Blast it!
Open sesame.
Take a look at this fight scene, for example. It's Robin against a bunch of street thugs who are messing with a girl out in the city, but he follows them into their lair, or whatever you want to call it, and the whole place is done up in black lights, black light paint, and so are the gang members. I'm not saying it's stupid looking or anything, because it actually looks really cool. It's just that it gets distracting about halfway through Robin kicking these guys' asses, because you're more focused on the bright color usage and neon imagery instead of what you're supposed to be paying attention to, which is, again, Robin beating the shit out of these guys and saving the girl. Instead of Schumacher putting in that much emphasis on making this whole fight scene look cool aesthetically, he should have just let the audience focus on the fighting more, but that's just a nitpick. Another nitpick I have with Forever is that, I don't know why, but it bothers me for some reason that even before Edward Nygma becomes the Riddler, he already has some Riddler memorabilia, such as the bobblehead and the fortune teller box, and proceeds to use black and green question marks for his riddles that he makes to send to Bruce Wayne as if the character already exists, when by this early in the film, he still technically doesn't. Edward is gearing up towards naming and creating himself as the Riddler, but he hasn't made it that far yet. That's another thing too, is the scene where he's trying to figure out what to name himself and what he's going to look like is hilariously dumb, and I really think it could have been done better, but hey, even though I feel that way about it, I'm still able to enjoy this scene for what it is.
The Gamester. Captain Kill. Question mark, man? No. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Batman Forever is another hit when it comes to the cast, and I have always thought they did a wonderful job here. Val Kilmer as Batman and Bruce Wayne really has a different overall feel to him, which is strong, subtle, and rock solid, that isn't too far removed from Michael Keaton, to be honest. Even though I have always thought that Keaton was the best out of the old franchise, Val Kilmer really stands out on his own and sells it. Jim Carrey as the Riddler is just so good because he had the energy, the quirkiness, and the dark comedic layers to pull the character off the right way here. Some of his delivery is a little too much in certain scenes, but overall he's a great version of the Riddler and makes Edward come off as really fucking creepy and bizarre, which was kind of the whole point. To counterbalance how Carrey played the Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones played Harvey Dent and Two-Face with great chaotic goofiness and charm. I personally still think to this day that his version of Two-Face is fantastic and just makes the film fun. He is sort of a variation on the Joker in this one because he has his own cool looking logo all over his own vehicles and merchandise, has a large group of henchmen that he commands and just uses to do his bidding, and when they get killed he really could care less. His over-the-top stature and delivery is perfect for the tone of Batman Forever, and it asks nothing less of him to act the way that he does. The final thespian I need to point out in Batman Forever is Nicole Kidman. She is a damn killer in this film as Dr. Chase Meridian, both in physical appearance and prose. She presents herself very highly and strongly, which I think really turns on old Brucey, and entices him to want to see her a lot during the runtime, and you know, this is what I was talking about in my Batman Returns video, is that Michelle Pfeiffer should have just been Wayne's girlfriend instead of forcing her to become Catwoman about midway through. It just felt so unnatural. But here, having Nicole Kidman play his girlfriend and give him psychology advice about Edward Nygma in between her becoming infatuated with Batman himself, and Bruce becoming infatuated with her, it honestly works here, and that's all that really needed to happen. All of the characters here seem to be in place where they should be, instead of being weighed down by a third wheel of a villain for sex appeal, and to just shove them in for the sake of it. My final thoughts on Batman Forever are this. It really is a two-toned film that feels half Adam West Batman played for the over-top silliness and fun, and half Tim Burton Batman because, well, he did produce it, and it still retains some of his awkward and bizarrely dark sensibilities, which stretch out to a lot of the heavier scenes like Dick Grayson's parents getting killed, or Bruce Wayne recessing back into his mind when his parents were killed, and ultimately realizing that he and Dick are essentially one and the same in that regard. Batman Forever is bright and colorful, yet deeply depressing at the same time, and I think that's the enigmatic duality of this film that makes it a great sequel. Is it a masterpiece? Hell no it isn't. But it's a Batman film with two of its universe's more lesser villains that are on the weirder side anyway, so it never really needed to be a masterpiece. Batman Forever was awesome then, is still awesome now, and will always be awesome forever. By the way, even though I'm a much bigger fan of the Batmobile from the first two Bat films, the Batmobile here kicks ass too. Take it for a joyride because it's the car. Chicks dig the car.
Riddle me this, Fred. What is everything to someone and nothing to everyone else? You're mine, baby! And now mine pumps with the power of yours. Sucking up your IQ. Vacuuming the cortex. Feeding off your brain.